against the run in both two categories, rushing yards and rushing yards per attempt. So that certainly bodes well for Deontay to continue to have success. And then you look at P.J. Walker. P.J. Walker has been playing great since he's been here. You know, even that first game he played pretty good. He just wasn't asked to do much, you know, that game against the Rams. But since then, against the 49ers, I'm sorry, was that right? Against the 49ers? No, against the, oh man, I'm losing it. And also most recently against the Atlanta Falcons. He didn't have a good first half. Did not have a good first half at all, but stayed steady, stayed the course, and had a pretty good second half. Had a great second half. I forget, I'm just gonna say randomly what I think. Let's say he had about a 30 passer rating in that first half last week against the Falcons. And then in the second half, he had like a 100. So those aren't the exact numbers. I didn't want to look them up really quick and delay the show, but it was that kind of difference in his first half passer rating and his second half passer rating. Just didn't give up, stayed confident the entire way through the game. And PJ's a guy that I have seen his confidence just grow and grow. He's a guy that I always felt played better when he knows he's going to start. You might say what guy doesn't, but PJ, in my opinion, it's a big difference between PJ coming off the bench, trying to throw on the cape, do everything miraculously, versus PJ's like, you know, I got this. I'm going to continue to play. I don't need to do something super impressive to impress people. Now, this week, when speaking to the media, he's not yet ready to say this is my team and I get it. Unfortunately, and I say this is as my opinion, unfortunately, Steve Wilks isn't giving him this team yet. He's still saying things are week to week. Baker Mayfield is his backup this week. And even mentioning the backup to PJ is week to week. Now I think a lot of that's going to change this week because Sam Darnold has to be determined if he's going to come off of IR or if he's going to be on there for the rest of the season. They have until Tuesday to do that. We got a game Thursday, so I really feel like basically coach already knows. He's just trying to, I don't know, spare some time, but I strongly feel like he already knows. And I strongly feel like we're going to have that announcement on Monday in terms of Sam Darnold being active. Now that does throw some complications into things because now you're going to have P.J. Walker, Sam Darnold, and Baker Mayfield. You're probably not going to have all three of those guys active. And if you do, you're certainly going to be sitting one of those guys on game day, which takes a roster spot away from some other special teamer or defensive lineman or secondary guy that you may need that you're trying to balance things due to injury. So we'll see. That's coming up. Another thing to keep eyes out on today is Eddie Pinheiro. Okay, Eddie had a meltdown of, you know, you could say epic proportions last week. He didn't miss a ton of kicks. I say a ton because you've seen guys miss, you know, 3 or more kicks in a game, but he missed two very critical kicks. One was about a 48-yard extra point. Yeah, long for an extra point, but that's your job. That's what he needed to do. And then the other one was more of a chip shot. I don't have the numbers exactly right in front of me, but I'm going to say about a 30-yard field goal that he missed in overtime. Both of those kicks could have basically made us tied for first in the NFC South, but now we're in last, okay? How's he going to bounce back? How was his week of practice? His week of practice was good. Again, Eddie's a guy I spent some time with, one-on-one talking to it at his locker. Says that he's flushed it out. You know, he didn't do anything superstitiously special to flush it out, didn't do any yoga, didn't do any meditation, didn't go seek the gods. He just flushed it out. As kickers, you know, they have to have it in their repertoire, period. Flushing things out and going and looking at the next kick as something new and having the right state of mind. Now, this week in practice, Coach Wilks did go to simulate stressful situations. He did go to simulate something under a 2-minute warning, Eddie having to run out there and make the kick. He did it. He kicked a 48-yarder in practice. I asked him, is that the same pressure in a game that you feel in a practice? He says, no, it's not 100% the same. You don't have the crowd noise and all this other thing and the cameras out there, but it still is a pretty good simulation for the pressure of a game to help him prepare for. So we'll see how Eddie Pinheiro bounces back today. All right, so that's all I have for you today. Let's see if the inactives have come out, and then I'm going to go into answering your questions. Appreciate everybody that's been tuning in. Again, sorry about that 2 videos that we have to now do for today with that going out. And let's see here. If it hasn't come out yet, I'm going to certainly start to take your questions. All right, so that list is not out yet. So let me try to go back to the previous video and get to some of those questions. I will not be able to throw them up on the screen like I normally do because it basically was the last video. But let me see if I can grab some of those questions from you. And then I'm going to take your current questions, all right? So give me just a second here. Uh-oh. All right, and then let me go to the comments. What happened to the comments? Oh, the live comments. I don't see the live comments. So I don't see the live comments, unfortunately, from that previous video. I do see Chance saying we show so much heart, though, compared to what we had with rules and so much more. Absolutely, so much heart. Andre likes to use the word resilience. These guys, I'm not cheering for a moral victory, but I'm just cheering right now for improvement so that we can get the victories, right? So that game against Atlanta, as frustrating as it was, as stressful as it was, as disappointing as it was that we lost, we saw a team that did not give up. Did not give up. You score, I score. You score, I score. Didn't give up. We miss an extra point, we're still going to keep playing. Overtime, you get the ball first, doesn't matter. We get an interception. We're not giving up. We're not letting these guys run behind us and score. Everything didn't work out. But yeah, the tenacity, the attempts to continue to play super good was there in that game. All right, so unfortunately, if I didn't get to your comments in the last video, go ahead and leave it now. And let me go back to being able to look at that information. Just one second. All right. So here we go, back. Tim Tizzy said, what happened? So, hey, I'm an honest guy. What happened is the video was set to end after the Steve Wilks played. And I didn't want that to happen. So I programmed this to make some of the production easier, but did not want the video to end, so it ended automatically. I had to start it back up. So my apologies, but hey, we're back. Donald Duck says, if the Atlanta Buzzards lose today, the division is still wide open, right? But we need a win to stay in the race. Well, you got the Atlanta Falcons, but you also have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's all crowded there at the top. So let me go ahead and share with you what that exact lineup is. I don't think that's right as far as your understanding, because I feel like we're 2 games behind everybody. Yeah, so we're 2 games behind the Falcons right now with that loss. And then we're 1 game behind the Bucks and the Saints. So the Falcons play the Chargers today. The Buccaneers play the Rams today. And the Saints play the Ravens today. So nobody's playing each other within a division, which means there's not like a dramatic shift that could happen. So if everybody wins today, everything stays the same. We'll stay 2 games back of Atlanta in first place, and then we'll stay 1 game back of the Saints and Tampa Bay. So we need everybody to lose today to start to get in contention. We certainly need the Falcons to lose, and then that could set up another potential first place matchup this Thursday night. But I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We have not yet played the Bengals today, all right? Let's go back to where we are. Tentigi says, let's bring in Jake Verity for a tryout at kicker. And then stuff happens. Yes, indeed, stuff happens. But, I don't mind telling you guys what happened or what happened. Let's check the inactive list, see if that's finally come out there so we can go over that, and then we can all go ahead and get ready to play. Well, I said get ready to play, but get ready to watch this game today. Not there yet? All right, so let me go to my source of where I know I can get this pretty quickly. How's everybody enjoying that extra hour of sleep? I feel like it messes people up, the extra hour of sleep. I feel like everybody just goes to be extra, maybe extra lazy, just extra chill when they get the extra hour. All right, I think we got it now. All right, the Panthers are kind of slow getting out this inactive list today. All right, here we go. I got it for you. Give me just a second. I'm going to have it up on the screen for y'all, okay? The inactives for today. Like to have a visual reference for you. All right. I want to make sure this is right. All right, so give me maybe another 20 seconds and I have this on the screen for you guys. Coming up. All right, so here's your list of inactives today. Wide receiver Rashard Higgins, which should not be surprising. We have running back Chuba Hubbard. We already knew that. Safety Justin Burris. Linebacker Aaron Mosby. Offensive tackle Larnell Coleman. And then tight end Stephon Sullivan. That leaves Dante Jackson as active today. All right, he's been dealing with some ankle issues. He's going to try to play through it, obviously, so we will have J.C. Horn. We will have Dante Jackson as our corners, taking on the Joe Burrow of Cincinnati. So, again, let me show this to you one more time. Wide receiver Rashard Higgins, Chuba Hubbard, Justin Burris, Aaron Mosby, Larnell Coleman, and Stephon Sullivan are your inactives for today. Tim Tizzy wanted to ask a question, how much longer till Chin can come back? I strongly believe it's this week that he could come back. So I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like 92% sure that that's the case for Jeremy Chin, that he's eligible to come back this week. So I appreciate the question from you, Tim Tizzy. Want to give a chance for any other questions out there to come out. Josh Rousey, with the Bengals O-line playing like it is, who do you think will have a bigger day, Burns or Brown? Man, that's a good question. I think Brown has the opportunity to have the bigger day because he's been playing. Derek Brown has been playing so incredibly. I believe he had a season high in sacks last week. Let me get that in front of me. See if I can quickly get that in front of me. Yeah, so Derek Brown, he had a career high 12 tackles against the Falcons, including a tackle for a loss. That's the most in his career. And he recently set a career high in week 6 against the Rams with 7. So he went from 7 in week 6 to 12 in week 8. And yeah, against a weak line, yeah, certainly Brian Burns could get back there and get some sacks. But, you know, if I'm Joe Burrow, I'm going to be kind of rotating away from that guy as much as I can, especially if I know my O-line is weak. And so Derek Brown, you know, he might have a chance for more success because he could just come straight up the middle, doesn't have to come off the edge. And if this Bengals team does try to run the ball more, then they're going to have to deal with Derek Brown. So I don't know. That's my thoughts. That's my guess. I appreciate the question from you very much, Mr. Rousey, for coming on and asking that question. That'll wrap us up for today's pregame show. I will be back live on the postgame show. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Help us to get to 6,100 subscribers. 6,100, I'm sorry. Help us get to 6,000 subscribers. And set your bell notification. That'll help you know when we're going live so you can come in and ask whatever questions that you may have. And then hit the like button in case you have already done those other two things. And I'm going to answer this one question from Captain Red before I get off. Because Captain, I don't believe I've seen you on the show before. Let me take a quick drink of water. All right, so Captain Red wanted to know how we feel about the passing game. Well, let me just tell you some stats so you can gather your own thoughts on what the passing game for the Panthers may look like today. I think as a whole, it's been pretty respectable ever since they've been allowing P.J. Walker to throw the ball down the field. But what are we going up against in the Cincinnati Bengals defense? Well, total yards allowed per game. Now let's skip over that. They're in the middle of the field. They're 15th in passing yards per game. So they're in the middle of the field in terms of their passing defense. So we'll see. Good question. I appreciate that, Captain Red. And Dre Cassidy has the day off today. That's it. Thank everybody for tuning in. Again, the pregame show is now over. Please make sure that you join me for the postgame show immediately following today's matchup, Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Carolina Panthers in Cincinnati, Ohio. For Chris Jenkins, Charlotte Vibe, thanks for watching.